Here's 5 kickers I'm benching heading into week 12. The first guy is Joey Sly of the Carolina Panthers. Sly, he had a good game for once with 10 fantasy points last week versus the Detroit Lions. But this week versus Minnesota, I don't think he's going to get many opportunities. We don't know if Bridgewater is going to play or not. And that Minnesota D, I know last week they struggled, but the few weeks before that, they've had pretty good ball games. And I think this week they're going to bottle up Carolina. It's going to be tougher for them to make plays. And I don't think Sly's going to get many opportunities. And he's only had that one double-digit fantasy game in a long time, like I said. So Sly, I'm putting him on the bench. The second guy's Mason Crosby of the Green Bay Packers. Crosby, he's been struggling most of the season with only one double-digit fantasy point game in 7 or 8 weeks. And Crosby this week, they verse a tough Chicago team. Sunday Night Football, the weather should be cold. It should be windy out there and bad field conditions. So I think Green Bay, it's going to be anyway them punching the ball in the end zone more than anything. And Crosby, like I said, he don't score double digits anyway. He's only going to get 5 to 8 fantasy points. So he's a guy I'm going to stay away from and bench. The next guy is Michael Badgley of the Los Angeles Chargers. This week, he goes to Buffalo, and over there, who knows how the weather's going to be. Last week, he had a good fantasy game with 11 points, but that's because the New York Jets defense gives up the most fantasy points to kickers. And this week, Buffalo, they're stingy D. They're going to get to the defense. They're going to make some plays as Buffalo. And the only other thing is Justin Herbert and that Charger offense. They score a lot of touchdowns where the opportunities aren't there for Badgley and the Chargers. So I think Badgley, he don't have a great game, and he's a guy I'm going to stay away from and bench. And the next guy is Jake Elliott. This guy, he shouldn't even be on most rosters, but I still see him on about 20% of rosters. And Elliott, he's only had one double-digit fantasy game the whole season, and the last 2 weeks, only one PA teammate. This Eagle offense is struggling. They're not getting the ball down in the red zone or in the end zone, really. So I could see another bad game for Elliott. He's a guy I don't trust, and he's a guy that I think is going to get single digits easily again this week. So he's a guy to bench or drop in this week, in week 12. And the fifth and final guy is Brandon McManus of the Denver Broncos. McManus, he's been a pretty good fantasy kicker this year, but this week I just don't like the matchup for him versus the New Orleans Saints, who I think it's going to be tough for this Bronco offense to do much versus him. The Saints defense, they're getting healthier as the weeks go on. We saw him last week shut down a pretty solid Atlanta Falcon team to only a few points in that one. So I think McManus, he might get 1 or 2 attempts, but I'm not expecting that double-digit game out of him, especially in Denver, where who knows, it might be snowing this weekend, and the conditions could be bad over there for the kickers. So that's 5 kickers I'm benching here heading into week 12.